What's up everybody? I finally got Shorty levers for the Softail. Let's open them up and get them installed. Something seems different. My name is Ron, and here on this channel I tackle projects of all sizes related to the bikes I ride, and I share information with you about the different products that I try. And this is video 1 in a 3-part series about the Lucky Speed Shop Shorty levers for 2015 and newer Harley-Davidson Softail models. And in today's video, we're going to unbox the levers, check them out, and install them on the bike. In the next video, I'm going to give you my impressions of the levers after having ridden with them for several weeks. And in the third video in this series, I'm going to give you a detailed comparison between the Lucky Speed Shop Shorty levers and another set of Shorty levers that I originally tried that didn't work out so well. So if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and enable all notifications. That way you'll be alerted whenever I post new videos. Now this video is not sponsored. I'm just telling you what I've learned about the products that I've bought and installed on my bike. But if you want more information about these various products, there will be links in the video description and you can check those out. So my journey to get Shorty levers started like 8 months ago, literally. And I started out with a different set of levers, worked with them for a while, and they ended up not working out, as I mentioned earlier. And you'll hear more about that in the third video in this series. After a false start with that first set of levers, doing more research, I came across Lucky Speed Shop, and those levers looked really promising. The Lucky Speed Shop does have 3 different styles of Shorty levers available. They have the 6-block style that I went with, they have the trigger style, which I also think is very cool, and I almost got that one. And they have just the basic smooth lever. And the different styles come in different colors. Not all levers are in all colors, but they have everything from your basic black to more creative colors like Sour Diesel and Space Force. So Lucky Speed Shop makes these levers in batches, and when I first came across them, they weren't in stock, so I signed up to be notified, waited a while, I don't know, it was a few weeks probably, got my email, dropped them in the cart as quick as I could, did the checkout, and about a week later I had my levers. I chose what's called Fired Bronze as the color, and I wanted it to tie in with the brown on the seat, but not be too obvious. And when I opened the box, I was immediately pleased with what I saw. Let's check them out. And as you can see with a comparison of the stock levers, they start with OEM levers, so everything matches up exactly. The levers are just shorter, and in my case, because I went with the 6-block style, they did drill the levers out just to give it sort of that retro feel. You will need a few tools for the installation. You'll need a flat-bladed screwdriver to release the red clip on the upper clutch cable. You'll need a T25 Torx bit for removing the housing on the brake side. You'll need a circlip tool, some white lithium grease or some other kind of grease for lubricating the pivot points. And you'll need whatever size wrench is needed to remove your mirrors and or turn signals so that you can get to everything. Let's start with the clutch side. The first thing you're going to want to do is release all the tension on the clutch cable. And in the newer Softail models, which is what I'll describe here, that process is very easy using the new 2-piece clutch cable that Harley-Davidson included on the 2018 and newer Softail models. And the way you do that is first you remove the metal clip that holds the clutch cable to the frame, then you slide that plastic tube up that reveals the adjustment mechanism, then you use the flat-bladed screwdriver to release the red button. You compress that spring fully, snap the red button back in place, and that gives you maximum free play on the lever so that you can remove everything and reassemble everything. You then want to remove your mirrors and your turn signals, and then you can remove the circlip that holds the pivot pin in. Be careful with that circlip. If you're like me, you're going to drop it every time you touch it. You can then remove the pivot pin, pull the lever out of the housing, and then pull that little plastic retainer clip out of there, and then that releases the cable from the lever itself. And be aware that there is one part that you need to transfer from your old levers to the new levers, and that is the bushing for the pivot pin only on the clutch lever side. Make sure you lubricate all of your pivot points. In my case, I used white lithium grease. And so the reassembly process is pretty much the reverse of what we just did. You will start by inserting the cable eye into the lever, and then insert that plastic retaining clip to hold it in place. Insert the lever back into the perch, and then insert the pivot pin back down through the lever. Reinstall the circlip on the bottom. And lastly, reinstall your turn signal in your mirror. Once you've finished the installation of the new lever, you just need to set the free play on the clutch lever. And in a video that I released previously, which I'll link to here, I give you all the information on how to fully adjust the upper clutch cable and set the free play. So be sure to check that out if you need more information on exactly how to set that. But the simple explanation is, once you've installed the lever, you go back down to that adjuster on the upper clutch cable, you release that red pin, and that will set the preload on the cable housing. So once you have spring tension on that adjustment mechanism, snap that red button back in. Then check your free play on your lever to make sure it's within spec. And Harley-Davidson recommends 1/16 of an inch to 1/8 of an inch free play. Give it a few pulls, make sure it feels like you expect it to feel. And then once you're satisfied with the lever free play and the way that pull feels, then you can slide that plastic cover back over your clutch cable adjuster, snap the metal clip back onto the frame, and the clutch side is done. Now, the brake side is a little bit more fiddly, only because you have to work with the bottom half of the switch housing and the lever at the same time as you insert everything and work it together and get everything to fit together. But to start with, on the brake side, you will remove your mirrors and or turn signals to get everything out of the way. Take out the 2 torque screws so you can remove the upper switch housing. Remove the circlip from the bottom of the pivot pin, pull the pivot pin out, and then you can work the lever out of that housing by moving the bottom of the switch housing and kind of working that lever out at the same time. And once you get everything into the right position, the lever will just come right out of there. Keep an eye on the grip, because that will probably want to slide right off the end of the handlebar once you move that lower housing, because that'll be the last thing that's retaining that. So just kind of keep everything in place as you're moving it and pulling that lever out. Again, it's a little bit fiddly. You just sort of have to work with it. Just don't force anything, and slowly move everything. And I think probably the best way I can describe it is you gently pull that lower housing down, so that the end that's closest to the outside of the bar starts to pull down towards the ground as you're pivoting that lever out of the perch. And so if you can kind of move things slowly and gently in that manner, you should just be able to pull that lever right out of there. Reassembly, again, just reverse that process. You want to lubricate all your pivot points. And then when you go to insert that lever into the perch, you're going to want to make sure your grip is in the right position. Insert that lever into the perch. And as you're inserting it into the perch and sort of pivoting it into the right position, also slowly bring the lower half of that switch housing up. And then once you get everything in just the right position, it'll sort of all just fit together. And you can tell when it goes into the right position, everything just sort of snaps together into the right place. And then once you have it in the right place, you can drop that pivot pin in, install the upper switch housing, install the circlip on the bottom of the pin, and lastly, reinstall your turn signal in your mirror. Now, because Lucky Speed Shop starts with OEM levers, you should not have any problems with your neutral safety switch or with your brake light. But once you've gotten everything installed, check everything out, make sure your neutral safety switch is still active, make sure your brake lights are activating, and once you confirm that, you're ready to ride. We've gotten through the installation process. Here's how they look. And how much shorter are these levers than the stock levers? Well, Lucky Speed Shop says they're 2 1/8 inch shorter. My measurements show that they're about 1.5 inches shorter. So I'll let you draw your own conclusions. They are shorter, that's for sure. Now, are they short enough? Well, that's going to be a matter of personal opinion. I can tell you that in the back of my mind, I feel like I might want the clutch lever to be just a little bit shorter than it is. So I may just for the heck of it work with an OEM lever and shorten it myself and see how it goes and experiment with that a little bit. So keep an eye out for that in case I do that project. So let me give you my initial impressions of these levers. Installation was absolutely a breeze because they start with the OEM levers. Everything just fits together perfectly. No worries at all with that. I love the finish and I love the quality of the machine work that's done on the levers. They look great, they feel great. Everything feels normal, so to speak, when I pull the levers and start to engage the levers. And I really like the style that the 6-block levers bring. And of course, they offer a couple of other styles as well. So if you're looking for something different, you can check out the links in the video description and see the different styles that they offer. There aren't a ton of options for Shorty levers for the newer Softail models, but I will put links down in the video description for the different suppliers that I came up with, and you can do the research and see if you like any of those levers. And let me know in the comments if you've tried Shorty levers. Which ones have you tried? Have you tried different styles? Have you tried different brands? What have been your experiences? Did you run into any problems? Has everything worked as expected? I'd love to hear about that, so please share as much information as you can, and I'm sure the rest of the community would appreciate that as well. In the next video, I'm going to tell you how these levers work in the real world after I've ridden them for a few weeks and used them under different conditions. And in the third video, I'm going to give you a comparison between these Lucky Speed Shop Shorty levers and the first set of levers that I tried, which didn't work out so well. So make sure that you've subscribed and hit the notification bell so you'll be alerted whenever I do post those future videos. If you found this video useful or informational, please be sure to hit the thumbs up button and share it with your friends. That really helps the channel out a lot. I appreciate that. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell and enabling all notifications. That way you'll be alerted whenever I post new videos. Thanks so much for watching. Enjoy the ride. I'll see you next time.